On the next slide, it includes a chart showing the visa bulletin and the fact that the quota is current for new filings, new I-526s or 526Es that are in rural areas or in high unemployment areas. So even though the quota for previously filed cases may not be current, post-RIA cases in rural areas or high unemployment areas are current, and therefore the ability exists to apply for adjustment of status. And the next slide shows some of the advantages of rural projects. And we'll go ahead to the next slide, which ties this together, which is called priority processing. And so the RIA created a new concept that never existed before called priority processing. Now, we didn't really know what it, first of all, it only applies to rural projects. And we never knew what exactly it would mean, but it's turned out that USCIS has taken that very seriously, and they really do give priority processing to rural projects. And you know, our rural projects, the I-526Es, tend to get adjudicated much faster than even the high unemployment area TEA projects. And what that means is if you're eligible for concurrent adjustment and you can get your I-526E approved with priority processing within several months, you can be done the whole process and have your green card in a year or less. There's clients of ours for whom the major or a major motivation is timing. And for those, when we explain the timing advantages of rural projects, they generally tend to want to see rural projects ahead of anything else. And so for our Indian clientele, it's absolutely critical to be able to file for concurrent adjustment, and therefore their only interest is in something where the quota is current, and that of course is either a high unemployment TEA or a rural area. With our Chinese clientele, there's an awful lot of interest in rural projects, and there's certainly concern that high unemployment TEAs that are current today may not be current at some point in the near future. So we do see, at least with a number of our Chinese agents, a great interest in rural projects. So the concept of concurrent adjustment is that you must be in legal status in the United States in order to apply for adjustment of status. And it can be a very large problem because when you're applying for adjustment of status, you need to show that when you entered the country, you intended to come here temporarily.
We have focused more heavily on rural, and most of our rural deals are very similar. They're large deals, well under construction, all the capital's in place, and EB-5 is a nice to have in the deal to push it forward. And with all of our rural deals, we've worked to structure them with a general 5-year loan term, either with a 1 or 2 1-year extension options, and in a way that we feel like we have very strong collateral, clear line of repayment, the jobs created for investors, and work to minimize the immigration and financial risk.
So not only are you getting the adjustment of status, work permit, EAD, and advanced parole travel documents in just a few months, but you're also, getting the green card, within a year in many cases, which is incredible when you compare it against some of the other, waiting lines, which are, decades long, depending on priority date. But for investors who just want the green card as fast as possible, and they don't want to hear about staying on another EAD or travel permit for many years, the rural is going to be the best fit.